What's up, everyone? Glad you could join me for another video. And for this, I have my first guest with me, being my good friend Lumos. If you want to introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? Lumos, aka Renadom.
Yeah, check him out on YouTube. I will link him in after the video. And he's joining me for a Movie Spock Lantern crossover comic run, because this is a video of why Spock will solo your favorite anime verse. That is correct. So let's just dive right in. So we kind of want to get kind of like a setup for how the Star Trek verse scales within the relevancy of DC, since they're obviously intertwined now. So it's pronounced Ganthet, right, Loomis?
Yes, his name is Kante.
Yeah, so like one of the most powerful Guardians of the Universe. Believe like the Star Trek universe was one of the most powerful, and basically one safe enough to hide each ring away from Necron himself. Like this was at the brink of kind of the battle where Necron already kind of like bullied the whole alliance of the emotional spectrum, and kind of like Ganthet was just running away. So they already had some faith in the Star Trek verse. So then it's stated, firstly here, that it is a completely foreign verse to the Lanterns, and most likely DC as a whole. Also, the teleports into the Star Trek verse, like Bolode Ganthet. We'll see that later. Take that how you will. Maybe it's just the potency of the verse. Here it is stated that Necron is basically just like the pure personification of death, just wiping out like every bit of life throughout the cosmos, just easily overwhelming the whole alliance of Lantern Corps. And Loomis, would you say this is just like a piece of cake, usually for Necron within DC?
Yeah, this is something that like is pretty consistent for his character. When he does pop off, typically, like you can look at it as like the idea of the emotional spectrum fighting him, but in all reality, it's just life itself, which is pretty much everyone in existence. Like when he shows up, it's a hey, everyone drops what they're doing and we try to deal with the problem at hand.
Yeah, you don't fuck with him. He's the big contender, right? Like main threat.
Yeah, he is like the duality of death and life itself. Or not the duality of it, but he is half of that piece.
For
Yes.
sure. Okay, yeah, so don't screw with him. So some further scans will be shown here, basically just emphasizing the foreign nature, since I want to make sure that, this has some, like, validation of being more impressive, kind of having, like, legitimacy with the power crossing over. It makes, like, the future feats all the more impressive, judging by the fact that the power is just as potent within Star Trek. Within this scan, it is stated that Necron is basically the inevitable, like unstoppable constant of death throughout every universe. Kind of how like Luma stated. This one's pretty juicy. It's basically by Spock here, implied to be the pure, like what I took to be the omnipresent manifestation of entropy existing in like every possible universe. Basically where like death exists, Necron exists, and with death comes the obvious existence of life. This is key for later on. So this is kind of like the link you were talking about, right, Lumos? Kind of like the death and life, where death is, Necron is.
Yeah, and it really kind of depends on how you choose to view that because on one hand in the DC multiverse, he was just there before like with the new canon before Perpetua came. He's like the being that just was there beforehand. And he's just trying to get rid of the light because she brought the concept of life here, essentially.
Damn. So he's like, yeah, he's definitely
So
perpetual
from what
level above.
Spock is saying, yeah, like from what Spock is saying, he could exist in some way possible in every universe simply because he exists outside of all of them, and he needs a host to typically drag him in them.
That's whack. And then basically, so once Necron arrives, like pulls up on Star Trek, he basically just says like he'll endure the full constant of death. As with like every other universe, like he isn't phased by any of this shit. So yeah, I think it's kind of like shown through these that his power carries on through the verses. And with this panel, it's just stated he's literally just like the
No
omnipotent embodiment.
confusion.
Yeah, that's some cheese right there. I mean, maybe he's definitely high outer, if not more. So basically, this is 2.0. This is the battle that took place, on the destroyed Vulcan. Basically, just like yet again, close to ending the totality of another reality carrying all life. It basically doesn't matter the verse where the Lancers team up on. Lumos, would you say like the potency of the verse isn't that important? It's basically just if life is there, he kind of can ignore,
Yeah,
let's
no.
say, like the power.
Like they just feed on the concepts that exist there. So as long as there is death there, Necron has power over,
Yeah,
like has that much power. However many people have died in that existence, he has power there.
yeah. So he just fucking scales if death is there.
Which, in if I was to take a little bit more speculation here, he actually reformed Vulcan because I believe it was in the second movie it got destroyed.
Hmm.
So he's anchored to that reality by that planet specifically. He's done that a time or two before. Has resurrected entire planets.
What a villain. Okay, and then Loomis's boy, Sinestro, ignorant as fuck, pretty Chad dude, basically stated that Necron is like, an extremely serious threat to all of existence. And like he's, so worried about this, he's literally teaming up with Hal, obviously he fucking hates, but teaming up with him for a second time, since he knows he's that big of a threat. Um, and anything you want to say, Loomis there?
Yeah, no, like that doesn't happen very often, especially in this canon. It seems he's very adamant about hating Hal Jordan. And yeah, him teaming up with anyone to do anything. To quote Captain Kirk, "Wait, he's on our side now," and Hal Jordan, "No, he's on his own side. We just agree right now." Like,
Damn straight.
he's gonna betray us, but he just sees the bigger threat for sure.
That's pretty savage. Um, so then it was like firstly stated here. So now we're getting to kind of like the juicy stuff with Spock, with the White Lanterns. That the only thing strong enough, to defeat what was stated as the omnipotent embodiment of death, aka Necron, is the life entity. In return, only one strong enough to harness the whole emotional spectrum can summon it. So yeah, guess who that is? Da da da. Movie Spock, of fucking course. So basically, after literally every ring of the emotional spectrum, like shot through the cosmos, him not knowing like what the fuck was going on, he was easily able to harness the full spectrum's power and summon the life entity. And basically came out completely unscathed. Like he just like coughed, and Necron was like impossible. Just another day at the office, and then just life entity bolos Necron. Like how impressive a feat of the Slumos for Spock.
Well, like we were talking earlier, I mean, he simply represents one of two dualities, or like half of dualities, and in the main canon, we've never seen like it's literally impossible to kill Necron. Like that, the life entity can like we've just never seen it perform feats to that caliber. They were considered equal, and the only way they could defeat him was destroy his anchor to this reality. And in this, like he just kills Necron.
so
So the
so
life entity has some of
oh
the highest
shit.
scaling it has in canon
So
in this
so you would
comic.
say that this is even better scaling for the movie Spock. Like this is a stronger life entity than shown in DC.
Yeah, in terms of what it can do, because like the life entity, like I said, could resurrect people and did some pretty hack stuff, but we never saw him do like outright feats that were comparable to like defeating Necron. Because like I said, he was undefeatable
Yeah, it's
still
just
to this day.
that's wild. And just like I guess then to just kind of sum up the how fucking cheese the White Lanterns are. I just wanted to kind of brush over maybe one or two of like most wild feats. If you guys like don't know about the White Lanterns, so a lot of the stuff like revolves around the source, which is wild. Um, Lumos, what would you say are some of his most impressive feats dealing with the source?
Okay, so like to give you guys an idea, the source wall is this giant thing at the edge of the multiverse that essentially keeps the every verse in. And new gods believe that the source, which is essentially what they believe is God or creation, exists somewhere in there. and the life entity itself, as well as the other entities, have been able to exist on both sides of that, and they have literally moved through it before. So they have something to do with the idea of creation, that being the source. Okay, so like
So they moved
the
outside of the
source.
source itself.
Yes. Now, the source itself, as described by Kyle Rayner, is essentially like the operating codes for reality itself.
Damn.
And so imagine like Neo in the Matrix. I think is the best example you could give. He was like a hacker, and as a result of being in the Matrix, he could like hack the Matrix around him. So it looked like he was reality warping. Okay, now imagine that on a multiversal level. And he has like reality warping cheat codes that he can pretty much do anything with.
And
And
these,
so Kyle sits at that level, but the white entity, the white lantern, or the life entity itself, exists somewhere around that level of at least being able to see the source, which is one of the highest feats you can have, like in DC, is like messing with the source.
yeah. So like, from my take and like what Loomis knows, you shouldn't scale Spock to Kyle since Kyle's like the goat. But you can scale Spock kind of relative to the life entity, which is no joke and kind of up there with Kyle itself.
Yeah, he's like I would consider him an avatar of the White Lantern, but not, or the life entity, but not a White Lantern specifically.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, so that's basically movie Spock for you. So yeah, he's not to be fucked with. So now you might be shaking a little, you weebs out there. We will be covering some of your verses and seeing if movie Spock will solo your verse. So let's begin. Okay, so basically we have, let's go with a couple anime verses. So we have movie Spock pulling up. We all know he can summon the life entity. He doesn't play. So he rolls up to Dragon Ball with Dragon Ball heroes. So, Lumas, how do you see this playing out?
All right, so I've watched pretty much all of Heroes. I've watched pretty much all of like Dragon Ball content at least once. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I've done it all. But the problem is, from my understanding of everything in there, every single character in the verse is still alive. And if they are alive, or even if they're not alive and have never been alive, the life entity can kill them
Yeah,
and then bring them back to life and then kill them again. Just take their life away because that's totally within its power.
that is such cheese. Yeah, and like, let's say, okay, so we have um, someone in doubt. Let's say Xeno Goku pops in. He somehow resists these hacks. He kills Spock. Oh, but can't the life entity just revive Spock and just go round
Yep.
two,
Even
right?
if you say like, haha, Lolo Speed Blitz, one shot Spock, the life entity can just resurrect Spock and then take his life still.
Good, good.
And let's say, oh man, let's say Goku like really powers up and he hits his most powerful form ever, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan times Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan 20, right?
Doesn't
And then
matter.
he kills the life entity. Well, guess what? He just killed all life in the multiverse, so he dies still. This is a no-win situation.
Damn, dude, that's brutal. Okay, so basically, Dragon Ball Super, boom, out of the ground. So now moving on to One Punch Man. So let's go over that a little bit more, so they kind of have a sense of how broken Spock is. So basically, One Punch Man, he's a guy character, right? Wouldn't he just punch Spock with one punch? Yes or no? What do you think?
I mean, be a similar result the last time. You could punch Spock, but the problem is, even if you kill Spock, the life entity will just resurrect Spock and then take your life still.
Okay,
And you
so
think, wait a minute, he's a gag character. He can get around that. Oh, but wait, there's gag characters in DC that actually don't scale
true,
to
true.
The White Lantern or the life entity. Ooh, feels bad.
Yeah, Mr. Mixicpidalix says hi, fucking Saitama.
Ooh.
Um,
The whole Toon verse inside DC.
yeah, you
Oof.
gotta love the tunes. Not broken at all. So basically, what I'm gathering here is, hey, if you have life in your verse, any spec, you just you can succumb to this, or you will. It's just life entity will have you, and if you really want to be in denial, and you say you can kill life entity, then you just kill yourself. Am I correct? Since you just killed all life.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it's quite literally the representation of all life in the multiverse, and there are scans that quite literally prove that tampering with the entities themselves is to quite literally tamper with existence itself because they are concepts, and to mess with those concepts affects everything in existence.
Nice, nice. Okay, so basically, like, Saitama punched him, and then boom, dead. As the entire verse is, Spock solos. So then, like, knowing this same logic, just like, power through a couple more. Let's say Full Metal Alchemist, um,
They're alive.
live, dead now. Um, My Hero Academia. They're in a a little high school. They're alive. Am I right? They're not some skeletons. They're
Yeah,
alive.
they alive. Weird.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, guys, hit up in the comments an entirely dead verse. I would like to see episodes of nothing moving when it's just, nothing alive, and maybe we can talk.
I, I would like to I would like to see somebody provide me a anime verse down low that could overcome the idea of being alive or life in their verse. Because if so, I just want to see that story because that's got to be one crazy ass
That'd
story.
be
Is all I'm
fascinating.
saying.
Oh god. And to close it out, do you have any other? Oh, let's say Berserk. That's a good one. Alive, am I
Berserk.
correct?
I
Griffith.
don't know. They don't have outer versal gods in there, and if so, he'd have to like outer versal yourself 10 times to get there.
Sure, sure. So dead.
And if they have anything to do with life in nature, then rip.
Okay. So yeah, I think you guys catch our drift. And this basically goes to most anime verses, as we said, where there is life, Spock kind of has you. Um, so yeah, that is basically how it would go. And yeah, I hope you learned something. Loomis, my boy, helped a lot with pulling up with the lantern. You should check out his stuff. He's really into lantern content, right? You're a big lantern boy.
Yeah, dude. I'm Lumos Theramax, but my YouTube is Renadom. If you guys enjoyed a lot of like the really ridiculous White Lantern slash life entity slash uh, source, weird scaling and things like that, I'm doing a comprehensive video on the entire scaling of White Lantern Kyle Rayner. And it's going to be pretty wild. So feel free to stay tuned, sub for that, and we'll see what we can do.
Dope, dope. I'll try to link his name in the description. I'll probably fuck up, so he'll just comment.
Yep, I'll just comment at the bottom. Wow, man,
Oh,
did me nasty twice.
oh yeah. Fuck you. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys, and peace out.
Later.